Imagine early people, really early people. They hadn't yet built cities, so they didn't know how to farm. So these type of people were called the nomads, and the nomads' sole focus in life was to meet their basic needs, which were shelter and food. And because they didn't have any advances in tools, they hadn't yet developed any sophisticated form of farming, and the best way for them to get shelter was to find it, and the best way to find food was to follow it. So nomads always looked for shelter and followed herds of food, which were like cows and pigs. And then let's move on to the two types of nomads. So the first type of nomadic society were foraging societies. And in foraging societies, aka hunting and gathering societies, they were mostly comprised of small groups of people who traveled from place to place as the climate and availability of plants and animals changed. And because they depended on nature for sustenance, they were always at the mercy of nature. So climate changes, disease, famine, and natural disasters could endanger or eliminate their entire communities. Even when times were good, foraging societies were limited by the capacity of their surroundings. So, and by their inability to store food for long times, they had hard times finding food sometimes, so a large amount of their population would die. So, members of these societies did not build permanent shelters and had only a few personal belongings. And so imagine like your backpack. That's how much personal belongings they would like actually have. And the second type of nomadic society were pastoral societies. And in pastoral societies were characterized by the domestication of animals. Blech. Okay, these societies were often found in mountainous regions and in areas with lots of rain to support other forms of settlement. And many of these societies were really small scale agricultural societies and only meant small amounts of food supply. And most of their food was usually like milk, eggs, and much easier products to store than meat. The extended family was a major institution in pastoral societies. Women had very few rights. However, these societies were more egalitarian than those that came later. And in pastoral societies, the social status was based on one's herd size. So if you had a bigger herd, you had a bigger role in society. And even though they had domesticated animals, they didn't settle down in towns because they had to continually search for new grazing areas and for water for their herds to drink. So pastoral societies increasingly domesticated more and more animals as time passed. They also began to experiment with securing a more dependable food supply through cultivation of plants, and with this sort of process of domesticating more animals and planting more, they developed farming, which soon led to the Neolithic Revolution, which we'll discuss in a later video. So I hope you learned about nomadic societies, and tune in to my next video.